excited to introduce my friend Marquita Evans. She is an awesome woman, and let me just tell you a few things that she has going on, okay? So Marquita is the owner of A-List Nanny Services and Intentions Juice Bar. She has over 10 years of experience and is certified in early childhood education and has extensive experience with being a personal nanny to a host of families in the Pacific Northwest. Marquita has been noted as being dedicated, punctual, responsible, trustworthy, and extremely fun to work with. All of these attributes culminated together has led her to become one of the most requested nannies in the greater Puget Sound area. Marquita and Lionel Stinson's new Intentions Juice Bar in the South Tacoma Business District is doing really well. Intentions Juice Bar aims to offer healthy alternatives to fast food, highlighted by the spoon-eaten smoothie bowls. What are your intentions? It's a simple question, yet it challenges you to set forth those intentions. Oh my gosh, Marquita, how are you?
Oh my gosh. Listening to that, it kind of sends me in a whole little frenzy in my mind like, that's who I am, huh? Because we almost forget sometimes. I'm doing great. How are you, Frankie?
You know what? I am excited. I'm happy. I'm in a place where, this is what God has called me to do. And it
Yeah.
took me a minute to really start moving things forward. And now I'm like, okay, God, I'm here. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And so, you know, um, I'm in a good place. I'm in a good place. That's what I
That's
can say.
amazing. That is amazing. That's the place to be.
Right. So you've been doing some things, girl, and I want to jump right in and just talk about, your gifts. I want to know, what are your gifts? Can you share with the viewers what your gifts are?
I kind of had to, when you first start thinking about things, you have set in your mind what it is that you feel you are called to do.
Mhm.
And one of the things for me, I have a problem not walking in my proper callings, trying to steer off and do what it is I want to do. So this morning, I took a while to just kind of sit with it and think of what is my foundation of my gifts and what is it that I'm called to do as a person. And I came up with, I have the gift of service.
Mm.
And when I first learned that, it was I worked for Bonnie Watson as a second job for a while. I've worked everywhere. I've done everything. And, I kept my badge all of these years because it says Marquita Evans, inspired to serve.
Mm.
And when I think about everything that I've done professionally, working in the hospital, working with children, currently working with at the juice and smoothie bar, everything has been to serve others. And
Mhm.
so I was like, that is my gift, the gift of service. I have the gift of love, I have the gift of giving, but the gift of service encompasses all of those things where you're covering each base by making sure you're giving to others. And then in that part, it sat with me that all of the years that I did a lot of giving, they say you reap what you sow. I felt like last year, all of those little seeds that I planted throughout all the years of doing for others and making things happen for other people and not for myself, I received my harvest came all at once in an abundance. And so it was it was a nice reflection this morning. So when I say I appreciate you even challenging that question, it took my mind to another place where I had to look inside of me to remember who it is that I am.
Come on, and who God has called you to be.
Yes.
And so, when did you really start to identify your gifts?
I'll say it's a daily thing. I mean, this literally challenging me to see what it is because it's actually something for me. I feel like it's something you just do. It's not something that in your mind you're realizing you're doing until someone kind of challenges you to question what it is you're doing. Um, I'll say after 35, I evolved to myself and I became okay with who it is that I am. I did not care about any outside thoughts. This is what you get. And if I had to think, it'd be between 30 and 35 were the years where I've most enjoyed my life because in that I've grown so much, whether it was business wise, in my personal world, in my mental state, where I'm learning to in the best ways possible.
Absolutely. And so, I know I've been knowing you for a long time, and again, a long time. And I've really watched you. You and I, we're kindred spirits. We've done a lot of different businesses and we've done a lot of different jobs. And, that's how
Yeah.
we met. And so when I hear you talk about having the gift of service, I see that all over you. Like it's all over you, even just thinking of being, having your business as a nanny. And so can you tell us, where were you when you decided to come up with, the A-list nanny services? What were you doing? What was
Mhm.
happening during that time?
Whew, now we have to go into dark times. So at the time, I'll say in 2006, I was working full time and I was engaged. I was raising someone else's child. I was in school full time at night. And when we broke up, I had bills to pay. And so this is back in the good old Craigslist days. I'm like, how can I make extra money? And so I went into being a nanny. And I'll never forget my first interview was with a Caucasian family. And I was like, I'm not going to get this job because I'm Black. And I was like in Queen Anne. And it just was like, oh my gosh. And it was like $15 an hour. So I was excited because it was more than I was already making. And it was perfect. When I tell you I still have a relationship with that family to this day, I worked with them for two of their kids. And then it just kind of picked up like in the nanny world, you make way more money working with less kids. And so I started getting people referring me to others. And so the first wedding we did, I needed someone else to work as well. So I hired my friend and I paid her a good wage, but I made $5 on top of what I paid her. And I'm like, hmm, okay, so people need care at weddings. And so my uncle, I will give my uncle Arthur credit for coming up with the name. He came up with A-list nanny services, and it kind of went fitting with my clientele because I started working with a lot of like professional athletes and things like that. So I'm hitting the A list of people, and they're also receiving the A list of service. And so it evolved just into this wedding childcare world. And slowly I would take these steps where I put myself out there. And every time I put myself out there, it was like a win. And so we picked up these big contracts, we picked up these big clients, and I finally pushed myself to work where I went to an event, and I want to say you were at this event. I went to this event, and someone told me, you don't have to find people who are like you. You have to find people who have the same qualities as you. And I'm like, huh, okay, that makes sense because I didn't want to hire people because, you can't trust people to run your business the way you do or function in the way that you do. But
Right.
then when I pulled out the qualities that I have, I was able to start pulling, like looking for those qualities in other people. So I've kind of become really good at interviewing people in that because I want to see some of my qualities in them.
Right.
And it ended up being great. I mean, I had a team of 25 prior to COVID. We were having bookings like nonstop every week. It was amazing. And so from 2008 till I'll say about 2018, A list was like really low key. From 2018 to, or no, maybe 17 to 20, A list was popping. That's the best way to put it. And so it was amazing. And now things are back to normal, which I feel like I thank COVID because it gave me a chance to breathe and reset and give birth to another business and to my baby and not be stressed out. So it was like the perfect pause. And now here we are, like, Oh my gosh, we have weddings booked back to back every weekend until September. I'm booking into September. I'm booked until September pretty much. So
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, you go from, having, this breakup, and at the time you see it as traumatic because,
yeah.
depending on who broke it off, sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes you just have to break
Hmm.
it off for your own sanity, or sometimes the other person breaks it off. But regardless, you feel like at this place you're losing, but this is where you're really gaining momentum so that you can start operating in your gift. And so you are a server, and now you get to serve people. People get to enjoy their weddings or whatever
Yeah.
they're doing, and you knowing that they have someone who is taking care and serving their child. And so I love what you said, is that you had an opportunity to take a little break, and now you birthed a new business, and now you birthed your child. Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about Miss Bella, the
Oh my
cutest
gosh.
baby. She's so adorable. And talk about how even your business has prepared you for parenting, for mothering, um, and birthing this new business. We're gonna get into intentions next. Let's talk about Miss Bella. How did that all come together?
Miss Bella, oh my goodness, who's laying here like I'm praying she stays asleep. I got a bottle on deck so I can hurry up and shove it in. So, Miss Bella, what is so crazy is I will talk. So, gosh, I'm like, my mind just went to a million things in there. Um, First, I'll say I have been labeled as infertile up until 35.
Mm,
And I've never been pregnant or anything. And so I dated a guy a few years ago and he already had kids. And I remember him saying, I mean, if you want to have a baby, then we can. And I was kind of like, I don't want to have a baby with someone just because they're doing me a favor. No, it's not what I want. That's not how I'm playing this game. And so I
right.
had convinced myself that because I hadn't gotten pregnant and I couldn't get pregnant, that I didn't want kids anymore,
Mm,
which to everyone who knew me sounded crazy. But I remember standing in my bathroom mirror and I looked at myself and I said, I'm okay if I'm not someone's mother because I've cared for so many kids. I've given so much love to everyone else. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm so used to this, Marquita. It's okay at this point. Like, I've traveled, I've loved my life, and I live with no regrets. So I was okay. So I thought. And so when Lionel and I started dating, I wanted a family with him. And so, um, working at Virginia Mason, they were opening up a new birthing center. And as soon as it opened up, I made an appointment with one of the doctors who is like my that's my friend. We're so cool. um, and I went in and I talked to her, and we tried this medication to get my period regulated and things. And literally, we that was in January. February missed the mark. Didn't We were on vacation? Didn't work. We got pregnant in March, the month we and it was like, oh my God. Ah, sorry.
that's okay.
Hello.
Hello, can you
Did I
still hear
lose you?
me?
Ah, hold on.
Just let me know if you can hear me.
Okay. I can hear you, but I lost sound.
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay. Perfect. Let me get on. Ah, okay. Let me take this out. Can you still hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, um, we found out in April we were pregnant, like literally at the 5 week mark. And I'm like, oh my God, like I wasn't really ready for this. And so 2020's word was being intentional. I
Mm-hmm.
made it up to 20 weeks and I'll never forget. I went in for my anatomy scan with Bella and they were like, we need to take you into surgery today. And I'm like, what? Like, who are you? I didn't know this doctor. She was just doing my scan to show me my baby had all her parts and everything. And so I was like, I need to talk to my doctor. So she was like, okay, I'll let her know what's going on. My doctor called me about 10 minutes later and she's like, Marquita, I trust her and we need to do this. So basically, my cervix was already internally dilating, and I'm at 20 weeks pregnant. Not okay. I'm already like 3 centimeters dilated internally. So I'm at risk of losing my baby. I had to go have surgery that next day. We're in COVID. And it's like you're planning these things so last minute. And it was scary. It was crazy. So I literally went through my entire pregnancy with Bella thinking I wasn't going to have my baby.
Mm.
Like the moment I felt relief, like I made it all the way through my C section, everything, and they're tracking my pregnancy like on Facebook through the hospital and everything. And, everyone's excited. I didn't get excited until I heard that baby cry.
Oh, wow.
Until that baby was laid on my chest, I still didn't believe it was real. Like I didn't have any morning sickness. I didn't have any issues other than, having to have a cerclage placed. And so Lionel and I just were talking. He's like, that baby's almost a miracle. I was like, she kind of really is. Like, she wasn't supposed to be here and she act like she's been here before.
Right. That's what I was thinking when you started telling the story. I said, that's a miracle baby.
It's crazy. I mean, and you almost like going through it, you don't realize that. We literally, and we're in a weird place. We found out I was pregnant again about a month and a half ago. And then I found out Tuesday, that I had a miscarriage. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh my
no.
gosh. So like we're in the midst of like this whole craziness, and 2020's word is becoming.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to look at things not just in the negative way. I like to deal with my feelings in each moment. And so I was looking to see where is it that I'm at in this moment, and why are these things happening? What am I becoming? Like I became Bella's mom, and I didn't realize I was no longer just Marquita. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, I don't have that snapback where I'm like, I can do a million things and still be a mom. I have to prioritize. I've had people ask me, make me a priority. And I'm like, I can't because I have so many priorities. Like,
Right.
I don't have enough of me to give to everyone else because she comes first. And so I have become this mother that I didn't think I would be. I've been breastfeeding for 7 months. I've been making this little girl's food. Like, this little girl lives the life. And when I tell you, it has definitely been a experience where no matter how much experience I have in childcare, having her and this being my little buddy, it's changed me and my perspective in what I thought motherhood would be.
Definitely. Well, I just want to say thank you for sharing your personal testimony with us, and just being vulnerable. It's not easy. I'm sorry for your loss, but I know that you have Bella, and God is, He's looking out for you. He's watching over you, and so
Yes.
He has something more in store for you. And so I know that last year when people's businesses were shutting down and they were closing the doors, you were opening the doors. So tell us about intentions, honey.
Goodness. Intentions. So intentions, the whole thought came up. 2020's word was intentionally. Intentions, doing everything intentionally. And it was kind of a mindset, and it still is because clearly it's stuck with me. Everyone hated the name. No one was feeling me naming the juice bar intentions. And this is one of those times where I came into myself and I didn't care. And it sat so well with me that I've made sure that this is what we're carrying on with. Be intentional, intentional vibes only. Like we're setting that bar where people have to be intentional about what they're doing, especially when you come in. You asked me for a recommendation. I'm like, how are you feeling? Well, let's go with this. Let's get you a reset. Let's get some clarity and things like that. It came with just a friend posting on Facebook about anyone wanting to open up a coffee shop. I know nothing about coffee. I knew about juicing though, because we had started juicing at home for our own health benefits. And I was like, well, what about a juice and smoothie bar? And when I tell you, this is just me like running my mouth real fast. It bit me because it was like, okay. And I'm like, oh, shoot, we're really doing this. And started with my project manager, who is now one of my best friends. And we took off on this. The opportunity came up where we were able to say, let's not do this anymore because we had a couple bumps in the road where it was like, oh, our electrician, or we need this for the health department, things like that. And it was like, are we doing the right thing? And this is when I feel like I walked in the gift of my service part, where I also looked at it as this is bigger than just me. We can do this. If it's meant to be, it's going to happen. And everything happens in its own timing. Going through, I stopped working at pandemic and I haven't been back since. And just opening intentions and being pregnant and everything. We made it through this whole process. And when I tell you, on October 9th, we got the green light. And so things have been delayed about 3 or 4 months. And it just, when I tell you everything worked out perfect, my cousin had just finished a nanny placement. She used to work at Starbucks. She was moving in February. Bella was going to be 3 months in February. So then I could decide how to make it happen. She ran that juice bar for me from October by herself, with us in and out from October to February until she moved. And from February on, we've been there, and now we have a nice team, and it feels so good. That is my place. Like when I walk in there, it's weird because I don't get the vibe like, "Ooh, I own this joint." It's my place of peace. Like
Mm-hmm.
I walk in there and just the vibe from walking in, it's so welcoming. It feels good. And people come in and Bella's there. Like people watch my baby grow, and our regulars. It just feels good. One person messaged me yesterday about hosting an event there, and I was like, "Oh, have you been in our space before?" And she's like, "Yes, you guys really helped me." And I'm like, okay, like this is what we're doing. I mean, we'll have people come in not feeling well. Okay, we'll try this. Let me know how this makes you feel. Next time they come back and they're like, oh my God, I felt so good. And you're like, this is what we're doing it for. It's been just a place of, someone told me it was going to be a place of healing, and I didn't understand in that moment because that's not what I was planning to do. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what it has become, a place of
Mm-hmm.
healing, where people are able to come in and you're treating your body right. You're doing for yourself. So it's something that you're actually doing for yourself that is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And great people, you get to meet great people. Like I've created these relationships with people I never would have outside of being inside of intentions. And it's just the beginning. We have people reaching out, hey, do you mind if we come in and film with you guys for an episode? And we're like, what? Okay, yes. Or can we use your space? And you're just like, this is what I wanted. And you get to see that vision now a reality. It's amazing.
I'm so happy to hear that. I mean, it's well deserved. Sometimes all it takes is just you raising your hand and saying yes and moving forward and being challenged in ways you've never been challenged before. And so we only have a few minutes left, but I know Intentions has you have expounded on that. I know that you have Intentions Business Services, and you have Intentions event space rental, which we are going to be able, COVID last year when I launched my book, we were trying to work that out, but I am going to get into that event space. So tell us a little bit more, in a short time, about the business services and the event space rental.
So for intentional consulting, I'll say we helped open 8 businesses since COVID. And that's just other small businesses. We're helping like get you through the paperwork, your licensing and everything, and getting people legit, because a lot of people are doing things without the proper paperwork. And so I like to share my knowledge. We're getting ready to add on some credit services where we'll do workshops at Intentions as well, just because we need to be planning on our wealth and planning on our future and things. So we're working on that, but we're available to help with any business needs pretty much because everything I learned, I didn't have anyone teaching me. It was like on the job training. So I like to share the knowledge now, because I like to feel like I did a pretty good job in there. For the event rentals, the first event at Intentions was my baby shower. And I wanted to keep the place nice, open, and clean so it was multi use. We have someone coming in to do like a Neo Soul night coming soon. We have different artwork posted up for local artists every month that we're rotating. We sold out our last artist 3 times in her time at our wall. We are hosting private dinners and things like that. I wanted it to be a place of community. And so um, we're now opening that up. I mean, as a different avenue for revenue and for helping others. So, yes, we have an event space, and you can also rent us to give juice and things like that for like the first hour of your event and things. So, yes.
Awesome. Well, that's going to be my event space. So
Yes.
anything that I'm doing in person or anything. So can you tell the viewers where Intentions is located?
Yes, we are at 5236 South Tacoma Way, Tacoma, Washington 98409. And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram under Intentions Juice and Smoothie Bar.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming in here and sharing your time with us and sharing more about your gifts, your gift of service, which you have been a server since I've known you. And I really appreciate everything that you've shared with us. So thank you again, Marquita. And I look forward to hearing more about Intentions, consulting, juice bar, rental space, just Intentions.
Yes.